You can have it all. You can have it all. Just not all in the same degree at the same time. Progress is not linear. Sometimes it feels like you're not progressing. But I'm here to remind you, you are unconditionally valuable, good, or something. Like, even if you're not progressing on your goals the way you wanted to, you're not hitting your to-do list like you wanted to. You're creative, but you gotta work a minimum wage job for a little bit, and that keeps you from doing creative stuff. Kind of feels like you're gonna be stuck. Guess what? It's okay still. It's actually okay. You actually are progressing, and you actually do have it all. Just, it's showing up in different degrees. Let's get into it, so I don't just keep repeating the same sounding truisms or something with no meaning. I swear there is. Okay, welcome to another, let's get official, another episode of So Enlightened It's Hilarious podcast. We're gonna call it a podcast too, with me, comedian and mindfulness coach Dalaina Heiberg. I, for the first time, missed, and what we do here is, if you're new, I hope there's some new people, hello, nice to see you, is I go through my own life challenges using principles of mindfulness to kind of work my way back from a flurry of anxiety and overthinking and a lack of mindfulness back to a more mindful view. And we get grounded, we talk about it, but then we also practice some moments of mindfulness. So this week, I want to talk about how I kind of missed last week and how that made me a little sad. So I've been trying to do these videos kind of one a week. It's more been like one every 10 days for the past, February, March, April, May, June. We're in the middle of July-ish, so like March, April, May, June, February, March, April, May, June, like almost 6 months. And I've been proud of myself for just getting a video out, kind of trying to build a schedule, like a predictable release, and find my flow, what I'm doing. And I feel like that's sort of, yeah, I will be honest, I like these videos. Like, I don't think I talked about this last time, I recently re-listened to a bunch of what I've been doing just to try to take stock, improve, figure out what I like, what I don't like, what all my most annoying tics are and everything. And I really felt like, especially about halfway through this journey, that I really find these videos helpful. And I think that I could see them being helpful for others and not just me. Because it literally is listening to my constructive inner voice. So I found myself like wanting to listen to them, not just out of like narcissism, probably like a little dose of that, but mostly because like it's like they say to make the movie you want to see. It's like I'm making the mindfulness content I want to listen to, the kind that is real, not just produced by AI scripts, not over idealizing any of it, not pretending I have it all together, I'm on the ground, I'm practicing it, I'm really on the ground, like I'm not from the mountaintop, especially this week. And that's what I was hearing on some of these episodes. I'm finding my way to something that I find valuable, and I'm excited about it. I want to keep doing these. I want to get more regular. I want it to be like Dalaina Heiberg, host of So Enlightened It's Hilarious, released every Sunday at 10 a.m. or whenever. Tell me when you'd be the most excited and available to listen. So I haven't got to that regularity, and in fact last week I basically missed, for the first time, also in the last year, I've been really consistent with posting either comedy or mindfulness material every week. And I have this wonderful accountability group I'm part of, led by Scott Dickers, one of the founders of the Onion satirical newspaper. Very funny, extremely helpful, generous mentor to many people. And every week I report what I've been up to, and I read all of my peers what they've been up to, and it's just such a nice, supportive and productive community, and to have that accountability. And this was the first week where I reported like nothing. Like, I didn't do a mic, I didn't put out any content. I did, there was a tiny little thing sprinkled in there though. But first I will say that kind of made me sad and made me feel like the life that I am, oh goddamn, I did not check my phone storage before I started this. If it cuts out and I don't have space to talk about I have so much I want to talk about, I'm gonna have a not mindful moment. I'm gonna really have a not mindful moment. And you guys won't even get to see it because I will be cut off. Great. Pray that the phone has the space. So I was feeling, my mind has been racing quite a bit because all I do is eat hair. All I do is eat hair during these videos. So I did this accountability exercise, which is so great. And I would love for my mindfulness coaching to build out to a point where I have enough people who are part of the community, maybe at like a really low investment of like, I'm adopting like marketing language of like investment instead of saying cost. But it's true. It actually is. You choose where you want to invest your money and everything, and you're getting something out of it. And okay, so I'm justifying it. A low investment, but like of $5, but enough that people would be like, oh yeah, I put $5 in that because I wanted to invest. I want to be a part of Dalaina's mindfulness coaching community, especially if you can't afford or you don't want to work one-on-one with me. I would love to have it as like $5 a month or something, where we have a group chat and people can it would be like an accountability group for your mind. Like, what's on your mind? You can vent a little bit, but like, how are you? How is the group trying to support each other to come back to a mindful reframing of what you're going through? And maybe talking about our meditation practices, etc. So that's one of the things I've been dreaming up during this busy week. So I haven't executed and put out tangible comedy and mindfulness things this week. However, this is one of my points. Often, guess what? This is how my mind works. I interrupt myself. I don't let myself finish one thought or sentence before I go into another one. But usually that's how these videos start. And then by the end of it, we're all super calm. My thoughts have slowed down, and we're just letting the spaciousness be. And that's not right now, okay? I'm gonna jump around. So where was I before I interrupted myself? I'm gonna take a mindful moment. You know what? It's so good to walk and take mindful moments when you run into a problem or you forget something. You don't even gotta try to get back to where you were. It'll just come. So let's do that. Mindfulness is like tuning in to the present moment. Basically just seeing what arises through your senses, in your little head, thought-wise, and just being an observer, just watching it without judgment, nothing to do about it for right now. I wanted a prettier place for this mindful moment, but we're not going to judge. You can do this at any point in your day. It is a really good idea. You tap into that breath. That can be your anchor and your remote control for where you focus. You're not focusing on chasing your thoughts. You're just focusing on your breath. I love the sound of this pipe pissing right here. That's perfect for a mindful moment. I'm gonna retake that so I can clip it. Can you believe this is how I think now as a content creator? I can't swear, so I love that this pipe is urinating right now, because that's a very relaxing trickle for a mindful moment. You might notice that although you're kind of focusing on your breath, the world kind of opens up to you through your senses. I'm hearing way more. I think that's like my main, no, I'm not gonna say it's my main, but it's my top 3, we'll say, maybe. Sensory senses that predominates. This is the most circular explanation. But when I'm practicing mindfulness, what I'm hearing becomes quite immersive part of the experience for me, and I like it. It's very calming, even if it's the sound of cars driving by. I mean, so long as they're not like honking and crashing. But yeah, take moments like this in between yammering away to your, in between venting and all that. Okay, I don't exactly know where I was, but I know where I want to be right now, okay? And that is, so this past week, I did not accomplish, it felt like I was going backwards and I was losing my momentum and that I wasn't progressing. But progress is not linear. Please remember that. We've all been here, right? Think of a time, maybe right now, where you have goals, you have a vision, and it doesn't feel like you're on the steady path towards it. But yeah, if you think of like a map and a destination, sometimes you're gonna like wiggle back and forth, even go backwards, 2 steps back, 1 step forward. Is it not the case that we have all these cliche sayings? Because over time, the humans have realized these are common, universal, that's redundant experiences. But it's true. Exactly. Why is my mind working like this right now? So progress is not linear. So I'm reminding myself that even though this week really felt, because there was like a checkbox that I couldn't check, like I couldn't write to my accountability group, here's the things I did. I really was like, I didn't have any outputs, but I did give feedback on sets to somebody else special to me, on their stand-up sets, and I posted one itty-bitty story on Instagram, Facebook, sort of a post on YouTube, and I was dreaming. I kept my dreaming going, my visualizations going of what I want. And hey, actually, do you know what else was a win? Is that sometimes you need these challenging practice times to actually practice your mindset. Because again, remember a video a few back? This is also straight wisdom that I dropped for you all. That it's easy to think positive thoughts when things are going well. But if that's what it takes is just the external world to be going well for you to think positively, then you're dependent on the outside world. That's kind of, wouldn't it be stronger and cooler if you could think positively without needing the world to have caught up to you yet? And to be a leader for the world and your life. So I was tested in that ability. I was literally doing the practice, okay? So life demanded that I either practice it or I just sink and wallow. So I had moments of both. But yeah, at this point in my life, I'm usually feeling the wallow, but I'm aware of it, and I'm like, I know that this isn't the most constructive. There's got to be a way to make the most of this, etc. So that's where I've been. And there's I want to hear about your experiences of kind of feeling trapped a little bit. This has been sort of a theme for me the last few weeks of, well, I left one career path, academia, because it was very intensive. I wasn't that great at it. I was like, okay, in some respects. I didn't love the teaching part or like marking papers, and that ends up being about half your time. And it really demanded so much of my brain, I think partly because it is much more like left brain. And I think that maybe this left brain, right brain stuff has been sort of like discredited possibly, or I heard someone say that when I was like using it to explain my life recently, and I was like annoyed because I'm like, no, I want to just claim that I'm right brain, and that's why I need to go this direction. And but obviously people have different aptitudes, like that's just so freaking obvious. So like my aptitudes weren't the most suited for remembering facts and being logical, and but again, I wasn't terrible. Like I made it far in the field, but it just would have taken so much for me to maintain that career, and it kept me from things that I felt like were very my true calling and aptitudes, which was comedy, creativity, connecting with people emotionally rather than intellectually purely, like in academia. So that's the direction I decided to move in. But getting afloat in this new world is, it's not linear progress step by step. But I want to, this is what this video is all about. Okay, as long as you do something, even if you put 5 minutes, let's say a day, a week even, if that's all you can manage, into a goal, that is like infinitely better than zero. Because anything above zero compounds. I heard there's this, probably like a self-development guy / productivity guy, Sahill Bloom. He's got like an extremely popular like Substack, I think, and it's just all over that kind of mindset world. And he put it that way. And I thought that that was very helpful of thinking of, yeah, if you just even do 5 minutes, like, don't underestimate that. That's like same if you invest like $1 a month into some index funds or your retirement funds, and it is so much better than zero. Like, it's something to build on, something that even if it feels like when in the active, the small amount, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything, this stuff is happening, okay? And so I just had to remind myself that even the stuff actually that I have done and put out there on social media, etc., YouTube, it's growing an audience. People have a chance to interact and hopefully get value from it. And I did these micro things towards comedy and mindfulness this week. And then the visualization, because, you know, there's studies on visualization as well, and how it does stuff. It does kind of change your brain and get you more ready to be successful at the thing. There's been brain scans done, and people who visualize, like athletes scoring that goal, jumping that high jump, well, if they visualize and they do the actions, they're like the most successful. But the people who just do the action or just visualize are eerily similar in how successful they will be at the thing. So I don't exactly know how they test that, and that's just a rough overview of how that works, but there's something to it, okay? So I just had to be working on my mind this week, I guess is one way we could put it, of working out a positive mindset practice, mindful practice. And that is good work. That is going to serve me for my whole life. And I was growing the ideas and the vision. And this week was, oh my God, it was giving me so much helpful contrasting life experience to make more crystal clear what I want and what I know I'm like good at and where would be best serving the world. Because me working minimum wage at the health food store, it's okay. Like, there's actually ways that I find it kind of relaxing, but it's becoming so clear to me that I'm destined to be creating joyful, funny experiences, talking about dark stuff, transforming it into light, growing people's, I'm going to say it, spirituality, and that's just like, it's actually more clear to me this week. So how great is that to have the life experience validated again, where I'm like, no, this is wrong. I shouldn't be just spending all my time stocking shelves, and I have so much to say and so much to give that I also believe is not just about wanting to pour out of me for my own sake, but that it is good for other people. Just like if someone cannot help it, they just want to spend so much time with their toddler because they're just like, they don't feel like they're as served at their job, but they know what they're doing by being an attentive, present parent in their formative years of their child is like, you know, you just like feel it as like a burning passion in you, and you're like, this is what I want, and I know that this is good for other people, the toddler and everyone who's going to be affected by a well-developed toddler turned into human adult. So that's just the feeling that I've had this week of being more clear. So I guess that's a win, right? Yeah. Yes. And so many quotes and stuff I wanted to tell you. let's take a mindful moment of that and let that resonate a little bit. So remember to focus on your breath. Maybe take a deeper breath. Imagine it sort of traveling and inflating your whole body. Just to get aware of your body. Like a body scan with your breath, almost like the flashlight of being like, oh, I was seeing and feeling into this area of my body, and now I'm becoming aware and feeling into this part of my body. I reread a note. I want to talk about this again in some other video that I'd taken while I was listening to a friend's podcast. Ken, shout out, Gillette. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. He's part of the stickers world as well. He does like martial arts and he's very funny. And he's starting to do stand-up. He does humor writing and lots of cool things, and he has podcasts, martial arts podcasts, and he had a mindfulness person on it. I think they were a professor, and the professor was talking about how the West's version of secular mindfulness, like we've taken people like John Kabat-Zinn, have taken from these Eastern, more spiritual traditions and kind of dislodged a lot of the tradition to make it resonate and useful to people who are not of those traditions. And I think that there's lots that's good about it, but one drawback might be that it has kind of made mindfulness so much just about the present moment and romanticizing almost the present moment that it's lost touch with like the fact that time, it's like all interconnected, past and future. And if you don't think about a little bit more holistic sense of time, mindfulness could be used for very bad purposes. Like, oh, I'm just so in the moment. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not judging. I'm just, gonna cheat on my husband right now. I mean, even the example of like, you could be a very mindful serial killer in terms of like being so in the present moment. You're not thinking about the ethics of your actions, how they affect the future of the person you're interacting with, or what you've held yourself to, what standard and values that you set for yourself at some point in the past. So I actually really think it's a interesting, important facet of practicing mindfulness of like, yeah, what is it all for? Like, sure, soaking up the present moment. I think it's so good to just get back in touch with yourself outside of like your racing mind and your more of ego, complex personality that has been built up through influences of other people and your own fears and insecurities. And your more primitive brain that's all trying to protect you and very fearful and always trying to look for threats, and to just be like, I think that actually is good. It will create a more peaceful self that actually facilitates more ethical treatment of other people, and that would be good. Like, I think it would serve what that professor is talking about, like doing actions that are aligned with principles that you've thought of at one point in time and you carry them through to create good actions for the future, etc. So, I don't know, it's just sort of a side note, but tell me what you think about that, because I think sometimes people are like mystified, like what's so great about the present moment? And I have thought that sometimes, and I just feel like listening to Ken's podcast with that guest was really helpful conversation around it, and something I've thought about, but it kind of just like wrapped it up kind of nicely. So I just wanted to share that, and let me know if you have any thoughts. Do you know why? Another reason why it's good to lean into the present moment, and this has been helping me this week. How many of you listen to like credentialed people, not just woo-woos, talk about the nature of reality and like what maybe consciousness is, and like what we're doing when we're trying to be, and how that just like relates to your personal life, but like on the grand scale, what is even going on out there? I've talked about this before, and every time I do, I immediately just feel like, oh, I'm gonna get super dumb right now, and it's not gonna come out right, and it's going to not help anybody, and it's gonna make me look unqualified to speak on this anymore. But that is why I decided to write something down to help me. So, because it's what you're doing, if you let yourself get out of your small, let's call it the ego mind, and be present, well, you're kind of possibly linking up and resting into a much broader consciousness. Sounds freaky if you've not been paying any attention to the conversations in neuroscience and theoretical physics and philosophy and stuff, but yeah, I love listening to stuff like that. And I don't listen rigorously, because again, that's not who I am. I don't like being rigorous about intellectual things. I'm more go by intuition, and it's a little bit of a mix. Hi, I'm in here with all my things. But so you're getting that version of it, okay? I don't know how to navigate this right now. You're gonna look at a poll right now. Let me just ramble for a second. It'll come back around to maybe a related point. Wow, there's like a thread coming out of my trench coat, my Inspector Gadget outfit, and I stepped on it, and it was surprising because it's like invisible. So, you know what else is invisible? The fact that reality at base might actually be a field of consciousness. Okay, just listen. Okay, for example, this guy, Giulio Tononi, Italian neuroscientist, I think. Why didn't I write that part down? Anyway, I think he's literally at a university, okay? So that's our standard for rigor around these things, and so there you go. But he proposes that consciousness, it doesn't just emerge from the brain. Like, we're not just, that's what we all kind of grew up thinking, or if you thought about it or anything, that there's inanimate matter. It doesn't think. Animals, we've thought about, maybe they have different levels of consciousness, more basic, more advanced, but we always thought like it's an emergent property from cells, from complex development of cells, aka turning into the brain. From that emerges consciousness. Like, it's not there before, it emerges. Okay, that's like a phrase in the literature, like emergent property. It comes about after these other conditions are in place, meaning it is not fundamental to the nature of reality. It emerges after material, like cells and energy, or do I want to say in the old world, okay, remember, this isn't about rigor. We're getting just broad strokes. But people like this Tononi, when someone's Italian and like their name kind of sounds like, all I can think about is like biting into undercooked pasta. I just love like that texture and stuff. Like I used to, as a kid, I would just be like, try to eat undercooked pasta. It's very relaxing to me. Probably not to my stomach, but maybe that's why my stomach's so tough. It's not tough though. Hello, diarrhea. Okay. So on this view, Tononi's view, consciousness might be a field just like magnetism is and gravity. It's just out there. It's permeating everything. And our brains are like instruments, like a radio, and we tune into it to a certain degree. So this is what I was kind of telling myself when I was like in spiral loops of trying to like feeling like I have a problem on my hands. Like I don't have enough time, but I have to work. I can't seem to get like a job. I don't even have the time to try to keep getting a job. I don't want a conventional job. But because that will just be too much commitment and it's kind of trap me. So I'm trying to do like gig jobs but I was in this problem space of being like, but now I'm kind of getting trapped in that because it's like, I need to work a lot more hours at those kind of jobs to make enough to survive. But I just feel like it's like this sense of like being trapped in the problem space where I'm like, and psychologists and even like Einstein said something like this, like you can't solve a problem from within the problem. Like you kind of have to get out of the problem space for the solution to appear. And so that's sort of what I was thinking. Like I was personally, in my personal life, I was feeling that like, okay, probably doesn't help just like spin my wheels on this problem. And as soon as like, this is like practicing mindfulness, going for a walk, like imagining opportunities, all of a sudden I feel like I'm tapping into a different mind or a greater mind or like my mind, but like on a different channel or wavelength or a different part of my brain. And so it feels like there's something to it just in my personal experience. But then, yeah, listening to these people talk, it's just kind of cool. It's like, because you'd hear traditionally like spiritual people and Buddhists and mindfulness people and from all different like Eastern and Western traditions of being like, hey, let go of your problems. Stop trying to solve them with your little personal ego mind. Let them go to a greater mind. Let the greater mind solve them. Let some people would say, let God solve them. I don't really personally subscribe to the God language as much, but you know what I mean? Like there's something, but I really think that a lot of like religious traditions and stuff, we're all kind of like coming back to the same kind of place with a lot of it if you like dig beneath the particulars and but I kind of like feel like with mindfulness and just being kind of willing to let go of your thought loops, it feels like, I've talked about this, like it almost feels like you're being held and comforted by the world somehow. You feel more interconnected. And so I just find it cool that I have that experience, and I know that's not unique to me. A lot of people feel that when they meditate or just like take a few minutes to practice gratitude. All of a sudden you're like, I'm seeing this matrix of reality in a new light. All of a sudden it feels and seems a lot more friendly to me, a lot more like I'm not on my own. I am connected. I'm not, there's not this dualism between me and everything else. And maybe if the consciousness theories of like, it's just reality and we're just actually a part of it, and the more that we like let go of our separateness and our like little tiny thinking, ego thinking, we actually are just feeling into like what is the actual basis of reality and natural. I don't know. Again, this is not about rigor. I just like going off of making loose connections with my little Dalaina brain and imagining maybe I'm connecting to big brain. Because I don't know if like the experts would be like, yeah, you can feel it. You can just like, that's evidence of it being there. But I like to imagine, because I'm not living my life of trying to like prove things scientifically. I like finding principles and ideas that I can feel that enhance like my own experience and subjective reality. Okay. So I've been enjoying learning about this stuff, but I just want to highlight that there's smart, credentialed people thinking about these things, and what if they're true? They have to affect us somehow. Otherwise, if we don't believe they're affecting us somehow, we're making a big human error in thinking that somehow, like, we're not understanding. The argument is that it's the basis of reality. We can't get outside of it, so we're somehow affected by it. Okay. I really feel like I proved a point there, so I hope you guys, that landed. Wow. Dr. Dalaina just showing up. Dr. Dal just laying down the theory, the nature of reality and how it affects you personally. You're welcome. Okay, you guys take a mindful moment. I'm busy looking for stuff. Take a breath. Yeah, you. Oh, no way. Also, Roger Penrose, the mathematical physicist, Nobel and Nobel laureate, proposes quantum theory. Proposes the quantum theory of consciousness, where microtubules in the brain are entangled with what quantum info that might exist outside linear time and space. What? I'm actually like, what? What does that mean? But what I'm hearing is your little silly life, small little blip in the ocean, is actually, it is the whole ocean. You're connected. You're connected with things. You're connected to the fundamental nature of reality. Not even in all that has been. The Big Bang is back in that many years ago, up until now. No, outside of time and space. That's my brain is trying to tune into this, and it's just not going to be fine-grained enough to fully understand, to really have that sink in. It's like trying to think about infinity or something. But I'm getting a glimpse of it. I'm getting yeah. It's at least taking me out of a very confined, limited way of thinking right now. So I might not be able to fully comprehend the full nature of what that's about in this human brain form, but yeah, that's okay. This is what my brain, what your brain, however much you're getting it, is what you're supposed to get right now, okay? I'm just going to declare that. It's going to benefit you to just contemplate. It doesn't have to be mentally. You just feel into it, okay? That we are possibly, I choose to believe because it feels good, and I find it so funny that, I don't know, this is just me, shadow tiny atheist, good vibes to you too, but like, I just find it like, I can't help but think of it like they're not the party kids at the party. Like, atheists, I feel like, they're they're the buttoned up people who are like, logic, no, it's enough. And I do know, like, I have a friend who's like, even a scientific view of reality is like almost like feels like spiritual to them, and they get a lot out of it. So that's great. But I think a lot of people who are opposed, and I like how, like, here's my brain just interrupting itself. I was talking about scientists, and now I'm just like, and this confirms spirituality. But, like, come on, like, I don't know, it's not the old science anyway, so it's like it's converging on a more energy basis of reality that's consciousness, which is what, like, kind of spirituality is about, is like prioritizing, like, consciousness over the material world, and, like, not over it, but seeing it more as a valuable component. And these credentialed people are saying that might be the basis of reality. So what I'm just saying is, it feels good to me. It creates good feelings, because I've also learned that our brains, this is a scientist, I said this, I saw some research, our brains are actually built to be like spiritual, like it's good for us. The brain likes it. And that's probably because it's like, that's the part of our radio that's tuning into the broader field of consciousness or something. I didn't know that this was going to be so me explaining all of reality to you. But again, you're very welcome. I can do it almost any time. But yeah, I just think it is interesting, because atheists were kind of the smart, cool kid on the block for a bit. But, like, the more scientists and smart people are delving into it, it actually seems like if you're going to keep up with the smart people, even at universities and stuff, you kind of got to open yourself up to the possibility of energy and consciousness being the basis of reality. And thus, like, hey, spirituality makes a lot more, like, scientific sense. But also because in my own experience, like, being open to spirituality, just kind of like inquisitive about the nature of consciousness, my own subjective feeling of it is it feels like very expanding and good, and it's almost like an opiate or something. It's like, it feels like a drug. So I'm just like, hey, if you're like a cool party person, just like do some sober tripping, just like take a dose of consciousness drug and get high on your own supplies. What I feel like that just makes more and more sense to me. It's possible to get high on our own supply. My phone has not died yet, and we are on a roll. Just let me check my notes. Let's take a mindful moment. I might start to walk back towards my house. And I just appreciate you all for being here on this rainy walk. I really want to know if any of this resonates. If you'd be so kind to share, but also I just hope it does, even if you don't feel up to commenting or letting me know some other way. I don't know. I think I mostly talked about about everything I was sort of hoping to. There was one other just like much more down to earth person who I heard talking this week that was helpful, and that was Chelsea Handler. She's a comedian, and I think probably kind of polarizing, and people kind of love her maybe or find her obnoxious and stuff. I only know her like a little bit here and there more recently, but I always enjoy listening to her carefree spirit kind of attitude. And she was saying how this kind of takes us back to where I was at the beginning of the video of like, I'm feeling like I'm not progressing on these like concrete sort of personal goals. And yet, maybe it's literally the thing. Okay, before my phone dies, it did die. The Chelsea Handler quote that was helpful was just, she was like, I'm not like every comedian who says they don't feel like themselves unless they're on stage. And it's just like, they have to be on stage. She's like, I live a full life. I'm content if I'm on stage or off. I take time off of comedy. And that was just helpful. I think that is healthy. Like, it goes with the idea of like, I have many parts of my life that are important. My freedom to do the things I want to do that are creative, but also relationships, physical health, mental health, security, like just, and having experiences, like just being in the moment and living life, being there for other people. Like, it's well-rounded. And right now I'm just embracing, like, I'm trying. I want to embrace that I am doing what I need to do, yes, but I have been investing in relationships. I've been in my physical health as much as I can. And also, like, I'm good no matter what. It's not conditional on me achieving things. So, like, I can always take a mindful moment and fucking tap in to the infinite expansive consciousness, okay? So that's how cool is that? So I just wanted to wrap this up and just say thank you so much for being here. And I feel connected with you guys. Like, I do, which is creepy, but especially when you comment and everything, and like, it actually is making me feel like a little something is growing here. No pressure though. I'm not needy for it. I have to put it, I just want to express it out of the good feelings that I feel. And I really hope that it helps you to hear that you're not alone in whatever you're going through, whether it's feeling limited in your time and ability to do things you want to do, or feeling maybe small, trapped in your problem loops. But remember, you take a mindful moment and you can be held by reality. Just tune your little radio to that pasta theorist Giulio Tononi, and remember, consciousness is a field. And the Penrose guy said we're linked up to quantum tubules. Just like tune your TV there. I mean, these are all theories, but I didn't do as much just like mindful moments. Please make sure you take some. Even the small ones help. And because my phone's gonna die, maybe I will just let it die as we walk. And we will just let's just walk and be mindful. And I'm saying goodbye now because my phone might abruptly stop. But that's okay. So we did a lot of reframing and processing life things and ideas. And now we're just going to focus on the applying it, the doing of it, but the being of it. Paradoxically, I'm going to try to not do so much and just be. Notice your little toes, your cute little, maybe ugly toes. Are they in the air? Are they touching the floor? Notice this freaking cement mixer truck right in our way. Notice your heels on your feet. I'm noticing mine touch the ground. nice. Somebody left a water jug with a pet bowl underneath it. That it is not needed on this wet day, but it will be when it gets hot again in a couple days. But that's just a kind, generous act. Remember, I feel bad for that truck. It's got it looks cool and cute, but it's gonna be wet in those seats now. It's got no roof or whatever. Okay. Remember to just notice your thoughts. Where are they at right now? Are you kind of swimming in them, or able to observe them and just be with them without being controlled by them? I'm noticing some distant magpie cars. I love a good alley. Let's go through this, see if it connects to the next street that I want. And secretly, I want to see if there's anything free on the way to do my video today. I passed by a free little table that, took back home. Me and my sis decided it would be a good, at least temporary table, maybe for when we get a monitor for the living room, to hook our laptops up to so we can enjoy. We both love like having nostalgic like background vibe movies on. We don't like, not always with the volume up. I just love like the passing doses of inspiration it kind of gives me, and I feel like it kind of positions me into remembering things that I love and feeling joyful. Cricket. That little camper is called Cricket, and I think it's kind of cute. Oh, and there's a person walking with a pink umbrella ahead in the alleyway, and it's kind of quaint sight. Yes, you and I, we're getting a little bit quiet. That's good. Sometimes life feels like you're racing around from A to B and just being kind of not feeling, what's the right word, like you're just like a cog in a machine. But you kind of reclaim your sense of aliveness and being when you remember that you are a miracle cool expression of that fundamental reality, and you have, to put it in more social terms, you have value, okay, even when you're having to just chug along from your job and taking orders, maybe you're a magical being, and you will have more magical moments in your life that are more self-agentic. I'm not gonna be confident that translates to anyone and is comprehensible, but we're just gonna carry on in our quiet mindfulness and not get hit by cars. I hope that my heavy breathing is ASMR for you, because I'm going up a lot of hills. Excuse you. I feel like that car is just farting at me. It's loud. It's a loud muffler, but that's okay. That person has a car. I don't right now. They're actually killing it. Remember, any amount is better than zero, infinitely better. Then you have something that can compound over time. So you're doing great. The little tiny baby steps you're taking, you are doing great. I literally don't know this cross street to my place yet. What? Come on. Alright, you guys. Thank you for spending this last little bit in some mindful meditation walking. And wishing you just good vibes, connecting back with yourself. And knowing everything is actually working out And we'll see you again soon.